Welcome to the GardeningDad.com's gardening school. My name is Paul, and in today's course, I'm going to teach you the best time to harvest vegetables, herbs, and even some flowers, no matter where you live. In this course, you're not only going to learn the best time to harvest vegetables, herbs, and flowers, but also some common features to look for to make your life easy. So let's begin. Harvesting is part art and part science. It's so easy that anyone can do it, but if you want to do it right, there is a very short window for those vegetables, those herbs, those fruit, and even those flowers that taste great. If you sit there and actually harvest it too early, it's going to taste bitter. It's not going to taste great. If you wait too long, there could be mold, there could be fungus. Again, it's not going to have that best taste. So there is a very specific window you're going to want to focus on when harvesting vegetables, herbs, and flowers. There are two main features you want to pay attention to in order to determine the best time to go ahead and harvest your plants. That's going to be the physical features and the weather or environment around you. For example, this year it's wet and it's pretty mild compared to past years for my garden. That's going to make a big difference of when I'm actually going to harvest my plants. So let's talk first around the physical features. There are a couple important physical features you want to pay attention to in order to determine if that vegetable, herb, or flower is at the right time to harvest. And number one is the solid color. You want to make sure that that actual vegetable has a solid color all the way around it. Very easy to tell if you have eggplant, very easy to tell if you have tomatoes, zucchini. Again, tomatoes, that solid red all the way around the plant. Zucchini, that solid green all the way around the plant. That is a really kind of a telltale sign that that vegetable or herb or flower is ready to be harvested. The second piece is going to be the firmness of that plant or that fruit you're getting from the plant. You want to make sure that if you are going ahead and harvesting vegetables, it's got a slightly soft, and again, a slightly soft feel to it. If it's hard as a rock, it's probably not ready. If it's too soft, it's overripe. You can really use this for fruits, you can use this for some flowers, even some herbs. Again, might be a little bit trickier on basil, but you can tell with those leaves if it's slightly soft versus hard or just kind of real limp, much bigger difference. So again, solid color all the way around. The second piece is making sure it's slightly soft. And the third one, very easy, it's trial and error, but go ahead and just grab that, let's say tomato, and see if you can gently twist it off. If you can gently twist it off, that means it's ready. If you're sitting there and you have to tug it, it's probably not ready yet. If you're sitting there and you just touch the vegetable and it falls off, it means it's probably overripe. So really when we look at it, the three physical features, solid color all the way around, how does it feel when you're actually trying to pull it off, and then finally the firmness of it. You want those vegetables, those herbs, those flowers, even the fruit to be slightly soft, not too soft, not too firm. The second piece around this though is going to be the weather, and this could change every year. So I'm going to give you a ballpark, and what I recommend you do is go to thegardeningdad.com, and when you're there, just type in the vegetable, herb, fruit, or flower you're looking for, and then just say, for example, best time to harvest tomatoes in the state that you live in. If you do that, you're going to get a more exact science, but again, it's going to change year to year. So here are 3 times that are best, or kind of give you a ballpark range of when to harvest those vegetables, those fruit, the herbs, and even those flowers. So number 1, if you're planting, let's say your green beans from seed, or you're planting, let's say those tomato seeds indoors, typically you're going to harvest those vegetables, those herbs, those flowers about 90 days after you plant them from seed. Again, this could range. Sometimes it's going to be 65 days, sometimes it could be 75. I like to use the range anywhere from 60 to 90 days, depending on the vegetable or depending on the plant. Gives you a ballpark of what and when you're going to harvest that plant. The second one, if you just bought a plant from the store, let's say you bought your tomato plant or your pepper plant from the store, you put it in your garden, you put it in a pot, typically you're going to go ahead and harvest these vegetables or these herbs somewhere between about 45 to 50 days, 45 to 60 days. If you're in that range, typically you know it's going to be ready. If you don't see any kind of fruit on those trees, that's okay. Sometimes it takes longer. Again, this year for me, took much longer for my tomatoes to grow than in years past. And then finally, I like to do this, this technique because I find it to be easiest. When you see flowers on those herbs, on those vegetables, on those fruit trees, again, depends on the type of plant, but typically about 30 to 40 days after you see those flowers, you know it's ready to harvest those vegetables, those herbs, flowers, fruits, and so much more. So again, 3 different times. One's going to depend on when you're planting those seeds. One's going to depend on, hey, did I buy a plant and I'm planting a plant? And then the third one is, hey, I actually see the flowers. So really those are the 2 big features you want to look for. Physical features and then weather. Let those 2 guide you. And again, part art, part science. You can't pick something too soon or too ripe, right? Or too late. If you do it too late, yeah, it might be a little ripe. It's still going to be edible more times than not. If you do it too soon, you can always put it in a brown paper bag and let it ripe. So there are a lot of different ways to, again, harvest, but in general, you're not going to mess it up. Use your gut is what I always recommend on that. And a couple other tips. As the season goes on and you get into late fall, early winter, depending on where you live, you're going to run into that frost. So if you do run into that frost and you want to extend the gardening season to harvest more, you're going to want to do a couple things. Number one, the easiest thing is just harvest everything you have. If you notice a frost coming, the frost typically is going to kill almost everything. So go ahead, harvest everything you have. The second tip I have, put burlap, put some sort of tarp over those plants. Typically, they're going to protect your plants from the frost and extend the harvest season. And then third, depending on how you're planting, what you're doing, if you put it in pots, if you put it in a greenhouse, that's always going to extend your gardening season. So those are 3 easy ways to extend the gardening season so you can harvest longer and more. Again, super easy course, but this is so valuable. You put in all the hard work of growing those plants. Now it's time to have the actual harvest and the yield from it. Again, if you want to learn more about a specific plant in a specific state or even country, go to thegardeningdad.com and just type in best time to harvest whatever plant you're looking for in whatever state or country you live in. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, happy gardening, and thank you for watching.